Okay, I'm back in bed with Secrets of a Playboy episode 10. And I watched it a few days ago, but it was so overwhelming actually. I think all of it has been. All of the realities of it have been kind of like really, really upsetting. And well, I grew up as when I was a kid, my dad used to tape shows from HBO or Cinemax or whatever network they had. And when I was home alone, which was often because my mother was never home because she left me when I was like 12, she left us. And my dad didn't, he worked a lot. He didn't get home until like 6 or 7, sometimes later. Or he would take trips, business trips. So he'd be gone for weeks. And so I was alone a lot. So I used to grab some ice cream. My dad always had ice cream, never just normal food, maybe except mac and cheese and, different flavored oatmeals or what have you. But yeah, so I'd go to his room, I'd pull out a tape of whatever he had going on and watch movies. And Star 80 was one of them. And it was a story about Dorothy Stratten, Playmate. And she could not be any more beautiful. Meryl Hemingway played her, and Eric Roberts played her sleazy boyfriend and then husband. And they both did a great job. I mean, it was perfect. The casting was perfect. And of course, he was in it, you know. Okay, so she was someone that was shy and beautiful and just kind of bloomed, going from being a child that didn't feel confident in herself to being this beautiful woman. And I look back now, I'm like, she was like 19. I think she was 18 when her sleazy boyfriend sent the pictures in, the nude pictures. So she shows up in town. Of course, she's so beautiful. She's blonde and perfect boobs and perfect skin and just the fantasy girl next door. Not the real girl next door. Not that one, but the girl that you wish lived next door. And so her sleazy boyfriend, Paul, I guess was a pimp, which I kind of already knew. He acted like a pimp. In the movie, they would reference pimps quite a few times when it came to him. And so I don't know if he pimped her out. I don't think so. But this was kind of a way of pimping her out, because back then, Playboy was such a big deal. It was like, oh, Playmate. What if my girlfriend gets to be a Playmate? Then I'll get in that business too. I'll have connections and money and fame and all of this shit. And that's what he was thinking. And she was thinking, really, I'm beautiful? I'm sexy? Men like me? That's the way she came at it. At least the movie says that. And in real life, from what people that knew her said, is that's how she was. She was really sweet, just beautiful. And she had this spark in her eyes when she first got there, that excitement for life, I have no idea what that feels like anymore. I lost that spark a long time ago. But I remember having it. And little by little, certain vampires in the world, they suck that out of you. And it's really hard to get back, if at all, So with her, she went to the Playboy Mansion. I think she worked at a Playboy club first. And there was parties there and what have you. And Hugh raped her. And there was at least 2 witnesses. Well, one actually, witnessed it with his own eyes. I think it was the chauffeur. He witnessed it with his own eyes, and he heard screaming. He went to go look. It was her. And half had was raping her, sodomizing her in the pool. Just the thought of that beautiful woman, so sweet, so lovable, just that sparkle, being raped by Hugh in the pool. But on top of that, she ended up telling one of the women that worked there. And she told them, like, he raped me and this and that, and, needed comfort. And so, on top of raping her and stealing that spark in her eyes, because everything was just so glamorous before then. She was from a small town. She worked at the Dairy Queen in Canada. So to be in Hollywood at the Playboy Mansion and have this piece of shit raping her. So she ended up being a playmate because I guess you either have to be raped by Hugh or you have to agree to have sex with him. His view was that I'm paying for all of this. At least you could do is fuck me, Like, he felt entitled to having these women fuck him. You get to live here or be here. And for some reason, he always had the girls move into his house, which I always thought was super weird, Just hanging out there, I thought that was weird because I didn't really see that with other magazines. It wasn't kind of a cult-like atmosphere. So, yeah. So I think of her, and she's somebody that I wanted to be when I was a kid. And I knew I could never be like that. I always knew that I didn't have those qualities that she had. I wasn't tall, blonde, big-breasted, beautiful naturally, I was just a kid, watching her going, wow. And Merle Hemingway happened to do a really good job of playing this part. But I remember thinking, even then, when I was just a kid, going, she's hanging around all these old men. There was no, it didn't seem appealing. I remember her in the movie, and all these old men were just kind of hanging around her, and Hugh was in a robe, and he was just like smoking smoking a pipe or a cigar. I think it's the pipe. I'm thinking about the movie itself, Star 80. And I just remember thinking that doesn't look fun at all. I thought she was glamorous. I thought she was beautiful. I thought the idea of men looking at you like that, not grown men like that, but, in general, I just thought that's such a beautiful thing, She's so lucky that she has that. And I did think her boyfriend was sleazy, it's a great movie. It really shows how he really was. So there was that part of me, even as a kid, that I felt sorry for her. I thought she's got to hang around all these old men, and her boyfriend's a total prick. And I don't know, I remember thinking all of this, even young. So the fantasy wasn't to go to the Playboy Mansion and hang around all these older men looking for young girls, which it still disgusts me when I think about it. They're predators. They really are. Yeah, I could see going there every once in a while as a man, but knowing, like, okay, this girl's like 19. This girl's 19 years old. She just came from some small town in Tennessee. I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to have fun, drink a little, party, visit with my friends. I mean, I get it. And I get why the girls went there. They were thinking, well, everyone's here, and this is where the party's at. And I want to be able to say someday I went to the Playboy Mansion, but also I could get discovered. Maybe I could get in the magazine. Who knows? So I understand the whole situation completely. But to take advantage of the situation, to be a grown man, even if you're in your 20s, to go there looking for sex is kind of disgusting. But, I get it. The girls were over 18. So it wasn't like it was, I think when you're like in your 40s and you're hitting on an 18, 19-year-old, it's gross. So I guess Hugh liked to rape. On top of everything else he did that was horrible, he raped women. It wasn't just her, it was other people as well. One woman said that She got drugged by him because he really likes Quaaludes, just like Bill Cosby. And he gave her something to drink. She was very upset. She kind of passed out, and she saw this disgusting old man on top of her, and it was Hugh. So I never watched The Girls Next Door, and that's the main reason. I was not one of those people that was like, oh, that would be so great to live at the manse and you know, you have a room there and be spoiled and swim all day and be naked or whatever. I always thought it was so disgusting that these women shared him, but that he was an old man. He's pretty much dead already. He could barely walk. He had to take a pill to get it up. Holly at one point wanted to marry him. It was all. Let's not play games. It was obviously for the money, and I like Holly. I like the fact that she was brave enough to write a book. Before that, I didn't really pay much attention to her. I thought she was just one of the many people that Hugh had slept with or dated or whatever, I wasn't judging her. I just didn't really pay much attention to her. She wrote a book. I wanted to read it. I was curious, and it's a really good book if you haven't read it. She's really honest. I think there's things that she left out for sure. I think that she went to a certain point and then she's like, okay, I can't go there. I can't go there. Maybe someday she can. Maybe, when she's a little older, she'll be more, willing to kind of write a second book, maybe, and reveal things that she held back before. But the thing is, she admitted to sleeping with him, that night, that she wanted to she wanted to live in the mansion. She wanted that life. She always dreamt of it since she was a child. She had to be first, to live at the mansion, you had to sleep with him. And so she let him roofie her that night. I think she said that. I know that he offered her one. Okay, he offered her one, and I think she said no. But she got really drunk. I haven't read that book in so long. It was 2013. The fact that she wrote it while he was still alive is why I think she's so brave. Because nobody else could talk about it the way she did. Okay, so he raped people. If you didn't give it up like that, he'd just take it. And you felt entitled. This is my house. These are my drugs. This is my alcohol. These are my, celebrities. This is my shit. This is my magazine. If you want to be around me or whatever, you're going to have to sleep with me. And there's more episodes coming. The twins are coming up. I was wondering what the fuck they would have to say. You remember when you dated the twins, the blonde twins, and then he had like 4 other people with him too, but he would always go out with all of those blondes, and they all had to look the same. And a few of the people on the show said that he liked them all to look the same. He would encourage them to get plastic surgery. So he was a misogynist piece of shit. He just was. And I don't know who fantasized about living in that house on The Girls Next Door. It seemed really old, dirty, to match the man that lived there. Old and dirty. And he treated them like children, he'd baby talk to them, kind of. It was like, or talk down to them. I just didn't think it was a good show, and I didn't know why it was so big. And it kind of grossed me out. Yeah, the other 2, I wish they would talk. I know that they have a little bit, but not, it's like they don't want to talk bad about him because they feel maybe they would be nobody without that. And maybe that's true, maybe it's not. Who cares? I'd rather have my self-respect than have to go through what they went through. And it's not about being naked. It's not about celebrating your sexuality. Sorry, it's late. It's about being used and abused for someone like that. Giving yourself away to someone like that, who I consider to be what I picture the devil to be. He lived that life that not every man, Some men have different fantasies, but yeah, you know, men wanted to be Hugh, man. That he had that life, that fantasy life. And he got away with a lot. So I have to believe that there's a better place, and I have to believe there's a worse place. Heaven, hell, I have to believe that. Because if not, then someone like him just gets away with everything. But personally, I think he's haunting the Playboy Mansion. I don't know who's living there now. I know that somebody bought it, but I could picture him just scaring the fuck out of people. You know, they don't see a ghost; they just see a dick. You know, just Hugh and his dick. You know, it's just a hand and a dick, an old dick though. It's like an old, crepid dick walking down the hallway by itself, running into people, and you know, I don't know. If he's going to be a ghost, he would definitely do that. He'd haunt people. But yeah, so there's more episodes coming. I'm glad to see that. I'm glad that more people are talking. And yeah, just the thought of Dorothy Stratten. She was like the ultimate. I think most men that were around that during that time period and even after, she's like the ultimate Playboy model. And so just the thought of her being violated like that. She started seeing this producer, and I've been going on and on, not even talking about her. And that's kind of what I wanted to do. She was around 19 years old when she became a playmate. She had already been raped by Hugh. She was with this sleazy, disgusting piece of shit named Paul. And she married him, and I can't remember. She was her manager as well, but I can't remember why they were so quick to get married. So the marriage lasted at the most a year, and that was at the most. And she met this guy, this producer. He was older. He was more like a father figure. But she wanted to be saved. She was surrounded around vultures, just disgusting men that were using her. And this man really did love her. And this is what he said. He talked about it. Her rape, her getting raped. He talked about her ex. So she had separated from Paul. She's like, oh, I'm done. I just can't do this anymore. And Paul was really jealous and pissed, and he wasn't allowed at the Playboy Mansion anymore. That was the movie version, though. I don't know if that really happened. But he would show up at the Playboy Mansion, and Hef would be like, oh, get the fuck out of here, you know? And he didn't like that at all, because he feels like he made her, he created her. And so she started seeing this producer that was quite a bit older, and like I said, I think she needed to be protected, and he was that type that's like, I'm not going to let anything happen to you. And okay, what happened with Hugh and why he raped her was that she had slept with a friend of his. It just came to me. I completely forgot. She slept with a friend of his, and I don't know how many people she slept with. I don't even care. It doesn't matter. I know that she slept with somebody that was kind of, you know, well known, but he was Hugh's friend. Hugh didn't like that. Hugh didn't like the fact that she came into the mansion, slept with this friend, didn't sleep with him when he was the one giving her the opportunities, and he was the one letting her stay there or whatever. And I guess she cheated on Paul at that time, which I don't, you know, I can't really blame her, really. Yeah, so he got pissed off, and then he raped her. Like, I'm going to take mine, whatever. So she left Paul. She said, we're going to be separated. This has to happen. I can't do this anymore. You're too controlling, and you're embarrassing, you're abusive, all of the shit. So he invited her over to his house, and I think they were just going to talk, because he was having a really hard time with the breakup, which she should have never gone there alone. I don't know what she was thinking, but she was innocent. She was like young. I think she was 21 when this happened at the most. She died young, so I'm trying to think of how old she was. I think she was like 20, 21, something like that. So she went over there thinking they're just going to talk it out, and then they're going to just have the final breakup or whatever. And he ended up shooting her face off um, putting her in this little sex, putting her body into this like sex table or what have you, like tying her into it, having sex with her dead body, and then killing himself. It's such a sad story. Just all around, it's a really, really sad story. So there's people that really, really loved her and knew her, and I guess Hef didn't even care. He could care less, that that happened. And of course, he made sure that he was involved in both of the movies that was based on that story. So yeah, I always looked up to her kind of, not not like, I don't know, not because she modeled nude, not because of any of that, but because when I was alone eating ice cream in my dad's bed, watching movies, I saw her as somebody that was like a bright light. She loved life. She had this thing about her that's the star quality. That's what they said. I thought, God, I want to be like that someday. I want to be that person that shines bright like that. Not thinking at a young age that there's people that could, you know, stomp that light out of you. Just when you go through really hard times in life, when you go through any type of violation or abuse like that, it's really hard to come back from that, if at all. Like I said, you don't usually come back because you don't think like anything really horrible like that could happen. And so when it happens, oh God, it's devastating to realize that this horrible, disgusting, vile shit happens. And it happened to me. And life isn't what I thought it was. There's darkness. There's a really heavy dark, especially over the Playboy Mansion. I feel like there was such a darkness to it. And they tried to make it so light, when the girls next door, like it's totally normal for an old man to be living with three women altogether that take turns being with him. They made it like a comedy show, and it was like, no, that's not funny at all. It's not cute. It's disgusting. So there's my view. But yeah, Dorothy, that the saddest story ever. Like if she never met Paul, she would probably just be a grandma living in Canada, with grandchildren. Who knows what her life would have been like, but she was so beautiful, and she'll always be that age. She'll always be young and beautiful forever. But yeah, I can't believe Hugh, he was just jealous and had to take that light away from her. Take that's what he liked to do to all women. One of the women in the series said that they really believe he hated women, that he wanted to hurt them. He wanted to belittle them and take away that light from them. And he managed to do that a lot, I don't know. All right, so when the twins come on, I think it's in a few weeks. When they start new episodes, I'll talk about it. And I have a friend who used to be a playmate, not a playmate, but a Playboy waitress at the Playboy Club. And so I want to bring her on and talk to her. But she has good experiences, though, so we'll hear both sides. We'll hear the good side of it. She wasn't in the magazine, I don't think, but she did do a lot of promotional stuff. So there's a lot of great pictures of her when she was younger. I think this was the 70s. Okay, everyone. Peace out.